Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We thank you for joining us for a Japan Talk series. If you guys are unfamiliar with our Japan Talk series, basically what we do in this series is we take you on a beautiful walk through the countryside in Japan. We let you enjoy the sights. And while you guys are enjoying the nature, we talk to you about some aspect of life in Japan or some aspect of Japanese culture. And for today's topic, we're going to be talking about dating culture in Japan. So if that's something that interests you, please stick around. And for our walk today, we're actually walking in Shizuoka. This is a town in Shizuoka called Shimoda. It is a beautiful little beach town. It's a really, really gorgeous getaway. It's very popular with both the foreign and the Japanese community in Japan. So if you're ever in Japan and you're looking for a beautiful little town, a nice little beach destination, I highly, highly recommend Shimoda in Izu. So I hope you guys enjoy the sights there. And now let's get into today's topic. So if you guys clicked on this video, I'm sure many of you guys may be curious about dating culture in Japan and what are things like. I mean, if you're a foreigner and you come to live and if you come to work in Japan, is it possible to date local people? Well, of course it is. But, let's say it's not very easy. I mean, one of the things that, you have to expect right off the bat is that in Japan there is a very, very low level of English. So if you are unable to communicate in Japanese, the number of people that will be available for you to communicate with will be very limited. So, I would say the number one thing that you can do to be able to not only have a deeper quality, life in Japan, but also to be able to, expand the pool of people that you would be able to meet here. The best thing that you can do is study Japanese. And one of the great things that a lot of people that come to Japan, they don't know, it's actually free to study Japanese in Japan. So a lot of local wards, a lot of local government offices, they offer free Japanese language classes for foreigners who come to Japan for up to a period of 2 years. So when you move to Japan, if you move to Tokyo or wherever it is, check in with the local government and see if they are offering free Japanese language classes in your area. It's a great way not only to learn the language, but it's a great way to meet new people. It's a great way to meet new friends. But overall, meeting people in Japan is really, really tricky, and it has to do with the way that Japanese people kind of form relationships. In Japan, relationships are really formed even from a very young age in childhood around common interests. Would you say, well, isn't that how friends are formed normally everywhere? I would say, of course, but to a very extreme degree. In Japan, in schools, they have something that they call, circles, which is essentially like somebody's social circle. And when you get into these circles, like let's say, for example, maybe you're in a dance circle, or maybe you're in a basketball circle, or a ping pong circle, or an archery circle, or maybe a manga drawing circle, whatever interest group you may pick. For Japanese people, their entire lives, going up through their schooling will really revolve around these circles. Their entire identity will really be built around these circles, and all of their friends will be involved in it, and it's essentially their main method of socializing and having a social group. So these groups are developed over a period of years, and they're usually really, really tight knit, and it's hard for people on the outside to break into them, unless they share that same interest. So, for a lot of Japanese people, if they're looking to, meet new people, they may join a hobby group. As I said, for adults, if you can look to your local ward, the local city where you live in, you will see opportunities to join, lots of different hobby groups, and this is usually a good way to meet people. So, overall, it is really, really challenging. For Tokyo, for example, of course, it depends on where you live. I've lived in Tokyo for 10 years, but being a large city like this, basically, Japanese people never speak to strangers. I've been here for 10 years, and in total, I've had maybe 3 strangers, during that time approach me or attempt to talk to me, and it's always been for very small, like innocuous things, like, hey, can you reach this thing on this, high shelf for me, something like that. But in general, people tend to not really step outside of their, own little circles. They don't want to bother people. So it does make it really hard to meet people. The only time you really see people open up in the bigger cities is, when they've been drinking pretty heavily and they're feeling a little bit of liquid courage. But, if you go into some of the smaller communities, a place like Shimoda, which what we're watching here on the screen together, you will find it a lot easier to talk to the local people, and you'll probably find that people in the older generations are a lot more chatty than younger people. So it can be really, really difficult to meet somebody. So back to dating. Now, if you say, okay, if I really want to meet someone in Japan, if I want to find a date, what are the things that I can do? I would say, first and foremost, if you really want to meet someone in a natural way that, is not using a dating app or not meeting somebody online, I would say find a hobby group, whether it's finding a local hobby group that is, connected to the local ward. Maybe you can find something on, like a meetup app like Meet, where you can find something if you're interested in ping pong or whatever it is you may be. Join some social groups and you will naturally meet people. You will naturally get connected to a variety of different Japanese people, and maybe you can meet somebody organically if that's your thing. Because it's highly unlikely that you're going to just go out and live your daily life. Of course, you'll meet coworkers and things, but you're not really going to have many opportunities in Japan to meet strangers. And this will be something that, is really, really challenging here because Japanese people are inherently shy. The other thing you can do is, of course, you can do online dating. Many people in Japan do online dating, but as I said, if you don't speak Japanese, more than 99% of the people are going to be inaccessible just due to the language barrier. But in Japan, there are, dating apps that are common. Tinder is used here, not as much as in other countries. The most popular dating app, I would say, at the moment, from, just watching Japanese television and stuff like that, there's a Japanese dating app called Pairs. And this is very heavily advertised on Japanese television. So I think it is the most well-known, and I think it actually does have the highest organic user base. So if that's something that does interest you, I would probably recommend looking into Pairs rather than Tinder. Tinder is kind of known as more of a sort of hookup app in a way. But I think for people that are looking for a serious relationship, I think Pairs is considered, the serious online dating option in Japan. So I would give that a look. Now, if you've, went ahead and, you found yourself a date in Japan, what is kind of dating culture like? Well, I will talk about that now. So, dating culture is, much like, any other type of, dating culture in other countries. Normally people will meet up for something simple, on a first date, maybe a coffee date, meet up and have a chat, maybe meet up for something nature-based. Japan is a very, naturally beautiful country, maybe meeting, grabbing a coffee, taking a walk in a local park, something simple like that to try to get to know person. Or it could be something activity-based. Maybe you guys, go play a sport together. Maybe you go bowling together, something like that. These are all very, very common. Now, when it comes to, paying for the date, in a lot of countries, it is really very, very common, for the male to pay and the male to, treat a woman out for a date. I can say that in my experience in Japan, it's really not as common. Normally on, first couple of dates, before people become a couple, it is really common for people who are dating to split the bill. And this kind of goes back to, a part of Japanese culture where, people don't really want to impose on each other. People don't want to, put somebody out or feel like they're a burden to someone else. So it's really common during those early stages of dating, before there's a relationship or before there is marriage, to be able to split the bill, because nobody wants to feel like they're taking advantage of the other person or putting another person out. So that is really common culture. So don't be surprised, if a bill comes and you're expected to basically split the bill. That's really, really common here. Another thing in Japan is that you should know about is there's really no public displays of affection. It's very, very rare. So if you are on your first couple dates and maybe you're really into the person you're dating, and maybe you're wanting to show some affection in public, and they're kind of shying away from it, it may not really mean that they don't like you. It's just kissing in public is something you basically don't see. Some couples, maybe they're too shy to hold hands. Of course, many do. So just kind of be aware of that. There is a shyness, regarding affection in public, and that's something that's not really common. Also, in terms of, meeting, your couple's parents when you're dating, of course, this is, a bit of a serious thing, I would say, in probably any country that you would live in. But in Japan, if you're going to meet someone's parents, it probably means that they feel that the relationship is on the pathway to marriage, or they believe that marriage is in the very near future. In Japan, it's something that's very, very serious. And if your Japanese partner wants you to meet their parents, they're probably trying to give you a clue that they're about ready to get married. Another interesting part of dating culture in Japan is another really popular thing is for people to kind of meet other people that can be potential dating prospects. By having like friends parties. So there's really common activities where maybe, let's say, a group of like 5 Japanese girls and a group of 5 Japanese men, who maybe know each other, a friend of a friend of a friend, you get the picture. But so they will all come together, and instead of just having like a blind date or whatever, it'll be kind of like a group blind date party in a way, where an equal number of men and women will join this party, and they will go out, and they'll go out for drinks for several hours, and in the early stages they'll kind of get to know one another, find out who they kind of like, and maybe pair up and have like longer conversations at a larger group table. And this is also another common way where people try to meet other people for dating prospects, having these really large sort of like blind dates in a way. So that is also really common in Japan. And some, they can be as little as, 3 and 3s, 5 and 5s, 10 and 10s. It's just depending, on the group and, how many friends they have. So yeah, I think, those are all the major aspects of dating in Japan. As I said, it is entirely possible. Life will be much better if you can speak Japanese. As I said, probably the best way to find a date in Japan is to do so organically and just join, some type of, just like some activity that interests you, and you'll just meet people naturally there. And that would be my suggestion. But so now at this point in the video, I'm sure there's many aspects that I didn't touch on. So if you have a question about dating in Japan, please go ahead and leave me your question in the comment section below, and I will reply to you. Or if there's another topic another topic about life in Japan that you would like me to cover on this channel, something that you would like me to talk to you about, just let me know in the comment section below, and we can discuss it. I'll make a video about it. And yeah, that's all I have for this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.